Healthcare education around the world has always had a huge scalability issue. Universities, colleges, hospitals and health systems all have the exact same set of problems, which is it is impossible for us to scale up one-on-one tuition, which we all know is the gold standard. People look at technology as a way to scale up this training delivery, but until now, it hasn't been possible. We need to dramatically increase the number of healthcare professionals, medicos, nurses, allied health across the board. The problem has been that we haven't actually been able to teach more of these individuals. The actual funnel itself hasn't been able to keep up with capacity requirements. So we haven't been able to effectively train more people, which then means on the other end, their performance is lower, which means we've compounded the problem of we now have a lower performing workforce because they didn't receive adequate training as they were going through. So why has it been so difficult historically for us to actually teach more and more people? Why has it been so hard to scale training like this? The answer is you've had to do it with those one-on-one tuition models. You've had to have an actor for every individual learner. You've had to have an educator in the room to give learners their individualized feedback. So the big thing that we're tackling is opening up that middle pipeline.
Kind of the crazy thing we believed at the start of SimConverse is that you can actually build a product and build like a system so that you can put gold standard clinicians in the hands of every patient, right? That's what kind of motivates us as a team. So it doesn't matter if you're in rural New South Wales or if you're in a metro area, you're going to get a high standard, gold standard trained clinician.
Ada and I met on the very first day of medical school, literally the first lecture. So we've known each other for quite a long time.
We just have like super kind of like similar levels of intensity that we bring to things.
When we founded SimConverse, I was doing an MD PhD. The PhD side of what I did was looking at scaling up communication skills training and clinical reasoning across the health workforce. First of all, we looked at what kind of pedagogical models could help us increase access to this training, i.e. if we have thousands of learners, how do we actually go about teaching them effectively at that scale? And the second piece was what sorts of technologies can actually help us deliver that teaching, again, at scale.
You could say that I was approximately medical, but prior to that I studied physics, and I was actually medical radiation physics, and I was actually doing like early work on AI, and I became obsessed with deep learning.
He'll be humble about it, but he was one of the first people in Australia to build AI for breast cancer screening is the way that I usually frame it.
We had to do a mental status exam for a patient when we were on the wards. We just got given this sheet of paper and it was like, go ahead and like do a mental status exam. And my mum's a nurse, so I asked my mum about it, like, do you do these and how do you get certified for it? And the answer was kind of unsatisfying. And I realized there's this whole range of communication and clinical reasoning problems that like the healthcare workforce needs to, be equipped to handle, and there's no good training for it. Going through University of Sydney, one of the best resource programs in the world, we still didn't have that much communication training. We would do 2 days of it each year and it would cost the university around $200,000. So most programs don't get access to that sort of teaching. I'd also been working on large language models. Like, hang on, there could be something here. I didn't think it would be big yet. I just thought it would be something that was useful and worth, exploring. Aidan called me in roughly 2020 to say, hey, this is something that we might be able to actually tackle with AI that he knew how to build. What makes good simulation is that what's good in the sim is good in real world. What's bad in the sim is bad in the real world. So the rules need to be the same. We didn't know if we could do it, but it seemed possible to build a system that could kind of respect the rules and you could have a real dialogue with, and you could practice your actual clinical skills. And it didn't look anything like a product yet. It was just like, can we do that? And Will was like churning away on training data whilst I was churning away on like running the training and writing the model. And we saw something that looked pretty promising. Getting the very first version of SimConverse working, I'd lined up a presentation with my clinical school. So we had this meeting booked for, I think it was like 9 a.m. Friday morning. We confirmed the meeting on Wednesday, and then we realized, oh shit, we have to actually put this thing in a state where someone's going to be able to use it effectively on Friday morning. We worked tirelessly for those 48 hours. I don't think we slept from Wednesday through to Friday to get this first version up and running. On Friday morning,
I was driving us out to City Adventist Hospital and Aidan was still coding the final parts of the product in the car.
I was getting car sick, and so I was having to pause. Like, I'd start a training run and then I would like go out to just like get some air.
Put it in the hands of the customer and it didn't work.
The system misunderstood some things. We clearly needed more training data. But the core thing that we wanted to prove was there. It was able to actually like track the context of the conversation, and you were able to speak to it and get a spoken response back like that. Even at that moment, there was nothing like that available, and the customer saw that, and kind of that was the initial validation we needed to say, hey, this is actually exciting. Let's go further.
The SimConverse platform is ultimately a series of different cases or characters that will play the role of a patient, a family member, or a colleague. As a learner, I log into the SimConverse platform, I have a conversation with the characters that I've been assigned, I get a whole heap of feedback on how I've performed in that conversation, and then from there I can take that feedback and action it for my next attempt. Now, what that then means is that from an educator perspective, you have this technology that's able to help deliver a lot of the cases or subject matter areas that you might need to train your learners on, at the same time as seeing how they're performing over time. So you get a chance to automate a lot of what historically has been really hard admin grudge work is done by the technology, but it's still very much aligned with exactly how you want to teach, because you determine the characters, you determine the way that these rubrics are structured, you determine how this fits within the curriculum. So it's a much more integrated approach than what a lot of older technologies have historically been.
The simulation that we are powering is real-time dialogue. So that needs to be fast enough so that you don't lose concentration. It also needs to be high quality in terms of its engagement. It needs to not hallucinate. It also needs to have the world's most advanced medical transcription. So you've got all of these cutting edge technical components, and then you need to wrap them up into just a bulletproof enterprise grade system. And it's like, well, hang on, these are two worlds that typically don't meet. So in that way, it's very similar to kind of like an advanced manufacturing process. Like, we do develop core technology at SimConverse.
We build all of our own AI models specifically for the purpose in which they're used. We don't use your GPTs, your Metas, or your Claude in the product.
Because we own every single part of the system, we're able to give you a model that's really fast, really high accuracy, like massively scalable, and really high reliability. What we're building is this like core product experience that's beautiful, seamless, and does the job.
The next question is, what's the next level up? We always knew with SimConverse that if there was a feature, or if there was something that was technologically feasible and valuable to the learning experience, we were going to be the first group to do it well.
I had a vision for one day being able to like generate a video model, but that seemed very far away. And so I've always been kind of like periodically checking in with the literature to see like, is it possible? Because the very second it was possible, I wanted to build that for our customers.
Aidan sent me a couple articles in. Aidan, do you remember when you sent me the first video model report that made it like opened up, like parted the Moses Red Sea?
Probably sent you something about feasibility at the end of 2024, but then I only knew it was possible around May of this year.
Okay, so possible in May, hints of feasibility end of 2024. And then Aidan sent me some of those articles and said this actually might be something that we can now finally do. It's going to be really bloody hard, but it's possible now.
Extremely hard, right? Because it's not just the AI side. Once you start to introduce video onto a platform, you think about like Netflix. Netflix had no AI and they had a vast team of engineers just to handle the video streaming. We were going to take on both problems. So it seemed possible, but a little insane. It's a bit of a strange experience once you really start to sit in this problem, because you start to need to look really closely at faces. The way that humans process faces is actually, there's a specific part of the brain that does that called the fusiform face area. It's in the visual cortex. And it's like designed to recognize faces. A lot of the, like, you see someone, you recognize them. Like, we have special hardware for that. Other parts of the world we perceive kind of more truthfully, but faces are a total lie, right? And we needed to get to some level of like core truth, because because we didn't want to have an AI model that was like learning on a lie, right? If you look at like a lot of like video models, they're trained on just like a dump of YouTube. YouTube is heavily compressed. If you look at the way like features move in it, teeth blur, faces, they don't actually like move with muscles, they kind of deform. That all comes in from compression. So we knew that we needed to get something that was kind of like raw. So that's where the idea came into like Clone Will.
The very first thing that I got involved in was actually recording some of my facial expressions, my voice, that sort of a thing. We went and got a whole bunch of equipment. I had to sit there and act angry for like 6 hours straight, which was really exhausting. But we got some good video and good audio that now we've cloned me and put me onto the platform. In the very early versions of this, the models looked crazy.
That's slow degradation.
When I look at you, I see.
It's actually my Slack photo now on Slack, so lent into it. So we had to tune a whole bunch of it to get it to work effectively, and we've got lots of stuff to look back on fondly now that it looks incredibly photorealistic.
In 6 or 7 months, we went from nothing to launching the most advanced video conversation model on the planet, right? So it's that's pretty well warp speed. I'm really excited by like what we've actually been able to launch.
A few weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to it for the first time, and you sit down, you load the screen up, you have this avatar in front of you that's blinking, you start talking to it, and you have this wow moment of it actually works. So Mary, thank you for waiting. I can see on the system that you're here to pick up both methotrexate and folic acid. Does that sound correct?
Yes, that's right. But where are they? And how long will it take to get them?
Going from technical feasibility to this end-to-end product is not a mountain you can actually climb alone. So that's been one of the really gratifying parts of building SimConverse so far, is now to get to work with exceptional engineers that can tackle like individually Herculean tasks. It was brutal and demanding on everyone, but we kind of came together, and at the end of it, when you like were able to put it in the hands of a customer and you're able to like have them just use it, no problem, it just works. Honestly, I think the first time we showed it to a customer, I was just like involuntarily beaming because it was just so delightful to see it work.
What this now unlocks for us is we can take this incredibly engaging one-on-one tuition and scale it around the world.
Right now is the worst the experience will ever be, and there's so much further for us to go. We started SimConverse to put a gold standard clinician in the hands of every patient, right? And that's our roadmap going forward, is we're just going to continue to iterate in order to put that out into the world.